All right, guys, the Utah Jazz win their 5th straight, this time against the Detroit Pistons. This is the Hoops Nerd postgame show. That got a little hairy twice. And I know Jazz fans there's some Jazz fans that are probably a little, annoyed that this game got close. But I would say there's a few reasons why you should be pretty happy with this win. First off, a road win is a road win. And anytime you can get one of those, you'll take it because that's great. The Detroit Pistons, arguably the worst team in the league right now, are going to come into this game and every game they're in from here on out and play hard. And these games against like a Detroit Pistons team on the back end of a back-to-back with a late flight and all these things, you're tired. You're not interested in learning too much about these guys that are just on most teams. The guys on the Pistons are going to be like ninth men or just trying to make the roster. On Detroit, they're playing starter positions and regular rotation minutes. Those guys, even though they're not as good as their talent level, the starting unit for the Pistons, not a single one of them is better than the guy they're facing on the Jazz. Not even close. But those guys are going to play their hearts out. And the reason is they're trying to get contracts. And so a game like this can be dangerous, and you shouldn't be surprised when a team like the Pistons makes runs against the Utah Jazz and gets things close a couple times because those guys are playing for contracts. Christian Wood is a nice player. I don't remember if we mentioned him on this show, but he's a guy I like, and he's really showing out to be a really nice player. Going to get a contract this offseason. I can't remember when his contract ends, if it's the end of this year or whenever it is, or he might be getting traded for pretty soon and then get a nice payday from someone because he's a nice stretch power forward centered type that could play off the bench for a really good team. For the Pistons, he's their best player, and that tells you a little bit about their talent problem. But don't be surprised that a team like the Pistons, who's playing their hearts out, trying to get contracts, every single guy in that team is trying to prove their value and prove that they can get points in a big game. And you have runs like this. When the Jazz looked honestly exhausted, this was a nice win for Utah just because they were able to just get the sweep on the road trip. They beat a good team in Boston, and they beat 3 bad teams in Cleveland, Detroit, and I can't remember the other one. And then you'll take that. But there's not a lot to say about this other than that the Jazz just found a way to win this game and drew for they had that close. They had 2 big runs from Detroit. The second one, Quinn Snyder calls a timeout, and they come out and they just prove themselves and show that they're a really good team. They figured out a way to win. This team is so much different than it was 2-3 weeks ago. And I don't care what anyone says, there are chemistry things, and I don't know if those are completely gone yet. But it looks like this team is playing like a cohesive unit. They have a defense that actually showed up against Boston really nicely. Really impressive win, that Boston win. And then tonight, to be this tired and to come in and get the win when Detroit looked like they were really trying to get this at the end, and they were hitting shots, and they got it close, and Utah was able to pull away. Not much else to say other than this Jazz team needs to start racking up wins against good teams. Denver and Houston loses tonight, so that helps out Utah. This season is far from over for the Jazz, and it looks like they're figuring things out. The rotations on defense are looking so much better. If they can get to the point where they are playing at an elite level again, or playing at the level they should be, they're going to be really, really good, and there's reasons to be excited. Mike Conley is looking like Mike Conley for sure, and having that Mike Conley, borderline all-star player on your team, if he's playing at an elite level and cohesive with everyone else, all of a sudden the Jazz looked like the team that maybe Jazz fans were expecting and everyone else was predicting to go very far in the playoffs, maybe even Western Conference Finals. And then at that point, who knows? But nice win for Utah. Not much else to say. You've got to take care of the bad teams when you're a good team, and that's what the Jazz did tonight. Guys, like and subscribe to this channel. I will talk to you later.